So now we have Romeo, and you can see how nervous he is. Suspicious, maybe, is a better word. So Romeo is the guy that a halter was put on too quick, and we lost his trust. Nose. Deep. So now when I've been working with him, I have gotten this around his nose some limited amount. So what we're doing is we're doing all the steps to introduce the halter. We'll see if he'll follow me at all. Be nice if he was closer to the camera. Nice. All right. So now we're going to do all the game. It's like a game. And look at you. You're so suspicious. Okay. Nose. Deep. Romeo is the one, he used to get pretty mouthy when you give him oats. And what we typically do for that is we'll swat him on the face, and then it's not a thing anymore. We'll swat him on the nose. And it's worked beautifully for him. No more issue. And I do need to get to his feet because he has a crack on his foot. So we're going to work on the halter today, and then he's going to be big time working on his feet. Nose. We'll see if he's curious enough to come towards it. Not so curious to come towards it. Nose. Waiting for him to touch it. Deet. He's touching it with his whiskers. We'll count that right now. Okay, and then we're also going to do the neck. Ooh, he didn't back away from me that time. Neck. Now he's got to turn his neck over so he can touch the halter. Notice right now I have it balled up. That's to take away some of the fear from this. Neck. Deet. I typically don't let them lick my hand at this stage in their training. So once they've gotten a little mouthful of their pay, then I just put the rest back into my oat pouch. Now there's a link for my favorite one in the description, so check that out. Neck. Now he's still chewing. Now really, if I waited and then I said ready and he turned his head towards me, that's probably the best way to do it. There, he's starting to come over. I'm going to lean away a little bit. He's thinking. Neck. Remember, we're on donkey time. Deet. Now we're going to go to putting it around his head here, or his neck. Are you ready? I see how he's now putting his head towards me. That means he's ready. Deet. Now that just was changing eyes when we did that, guys, and that can be a big deal for them. Ready? So now I'm going to put it over his neck, and then I'm going to grab it from underneath. This is all part of the progression of making sure he's ready. Deep. Now when we're doing that, we're leaning in towards his body, which we're going to need to do to put on the halter, right? Now because he did that well, the next step is to put it there and then get his nose in it. We could even try to get his nose in it here. Nose. Now, sometimes because we're on donkey time, right? Sometimes I have good luck. Sometimes I'm wearing a fanny pack and I'll put the halter like this with the fanny pack and let them go in there. Or I can put oats here in my hand. You see how nervous he is. And let him eat the oats, but he has to have his nose in here. So it's touching his nose. Here you go. All right, there we go. So now it's touching his nose and he's like, oh, that was kind of scary. I'm just going to retreat. Oh, and look at, he's following me, which is great. Yeah, that's a good boy. Here. Nose. So now we're trying to get him comfortable putting this or letting it touch his nose. And he says, I'm kind of nervous. Nose. Nose. Good boy. Okay, so you see how nervous he is? I could even put my hand through it so it's near, and we're making some progress, right? It's all about baby steps. So let's come forward again, Romeo. Are you ready to do it again? So this baby step here, I'm going to hold the halter out, and you always just have to back up. Hold the halter here. Let him eat the oats and let the halter touch him a little bit. Here, look. Nose. It's not really that scary. You're kind of drama-like, aren't you? Drama king? Are you a drama king? Here, nose. Good boy. So now, see, oh, it touched him for a second. Ooh, scary. Now, if you can't touch them on their nose or have them be okay with that part being around their nose before you're tying it on, you're not setting them up for success. So we need to do this in the baby steps so he's comfortable. I think all donkeys can be kind of drama kings and drama queens. They need so much time to think about everything that they're doing. Are you ready? You ready? There, good. You didn't back away. That's progress. Little things, but they make a difference. Are you ready? Scary. Should we give you a break for a second? Just pet and love on you. He's licking my hand, guys. Pretty silly donkey. Are you ready? Okay, now I'm going to hold my hand a little bit further away, so he's got to put his head in there a little bit more. So before I had my hand all the way through, I'm going to try to set it up where he's got to touch it more on his own. He did it, guys. But then Blackjack made some noise, which made Romeo here have to move because they're drama queen and kings, aren't you? So in the comments, I would love to hear what is the most drama king or queen thing that your donkey has ever done. You ready? I think my favorite one was Seamus, the white donkey. We had brought him on a hunting trip, and I didn't know when I got to the top of the mountain that I was going to if there was going to be a good spot to tie him up. So I tied him at the bottom, and then I went up. When I tied him up, he had his saddle on and then his panniers, and he started doing double bucks. He was so funny. He's like, "You're not leaving me down here." And he did a couple. We sat and watched to make sure he's going to be okay. Then he was fine. But it was maybe one of the first times he was tied up in a situation like that where he was all by himself. Seamus can be kind of a drama king sometimes. So he's just backing up. He's not showing me any signs of curiosity. I'm going to walk away. You see how he's following me. He says he does want to play the game, but he's a little bit nervous. Are you ready? Are you ready? Remember, backing into him is less intimidating than walking towards them face on. You're going to have to put your head in here if you want it. Yeah, there you go. So now he's just investigating. Donkeys need time to investigate. You can't go into my pouch. He thought that might be easier. He's just not sure if it's worth it to put his nose through that rope to get the oats. There. Little baby steps, guys. So we're going to pause this and do some target training with him. So if you're working on halter training your donkey and it seems like they're never going to be okay with things, just be patient, go on the donkey time philosophy, and you're going to get there. You ready? Foot, feet. Good job. Now, Romeo, if I put my hand down there before he was ready, he would throw his head down real quick, telling me that he could bite me if he wanted to. That's why we always start with the long brush. There are other ways to do it, but the long brush and teaching them this through the progression, I love this way. It's my favorite. Foot, feet. Now, the Blackjack and Joker, those two are just so chill. We haven't done as much target training and I with their feet, and I've gone straight to picking them up. Foot. So part of this, you're paying attention to how your donkey acts, what kind of mood or how nervous they are. Foot. Feet. He just barely touched it. The goal when they pick up their foot is that we get the brush in place to help teach what we want them to do. Are you ready? I cannot believe I get to be out here without a jacket in December. This is so wonderful. Foot. Now, if you guys didn't know, I'm in Montana, guys, so we do get some crazy cold weather. Here he's thinking about it. Last year we had 48 below, I think. Something like that. It was really cold. Foot. Deet. What I did there, guys, was he had some hair sticking out and I touched it. Some of his fur was just kind of sticking out. So I touched it, kind of tickle him a little bit. And when I did that, he picked up his foot and I was able to pay him for that. Remember, they learn on accident. We got to set them up for success. Fly season is always helpful. If you can find a way to tickle them, that's helpful. Foot. Deet. And you're going to know they get it because eventually they'll be very intentional about picking up their foot to touch the brush, to touch the target. See how he's leaning away from me a little bit? That says that he's a little bit nervous. It's not time to ask any questions yet. Are you ready? I'll take a step back to there. See how he came towards me a little bit? Foot. Deet. Here you go. Here. Ooh, a big breath out. That's a good sign. Now remember, when you're working with them, you are stressed to them, especially to begin with. So when we're asking them all these questions and they're trying to figure out the answers, we're causing stress. Foot. Deet. And the reason I bring that up is that we also want to be a source of their comfort. We don't want them to disassociate stress when they see us. We want them to associate comfort and good feelings. You ready? So we're just going to do his back foot and then he will be done. Then we'll be on to Joker and Blackjack. Foot. Foot. Deet. So I sure appreciate you guys watching. I hope you find value in this with training your own donkeys or coming up with new ideas of how to do things. Or there's always so much learning to do when we're training. You ready? Foot. Now again, we're going to know that he really understands this, where I could hold the brush kind of in different spots and he would lift up his foot and find the brush. Remember, he can see his back feet just fine with the way his eyes are set up. Deet. He might have just barely grazed it. Kind kind of giving him that one. Maybe a little bit more than I should, but we'll help him learn and be comfortable with all this movement around his legs. Later on, we'll introduce brushing his legs, petting his legs, asking him to pick up his foot. Foot! Deet! Nice work. All right, that's going to be all for Romeo, guys. Now we're going to go on to Blackjack and Joker.